Ayesha, what is the latest at this hour where you are?
Hi, Dudu. The city of Cape Town has now temporarily stopped the homeless from coming to the Strandfontein sports field. That was the designated facility where Cape Town's homeless would be brought now. We saw hundreds of homeless people being brought to the sports field on Sunday, as you can see here in the background. But I've been told that after the screening process on Sunday and yesterday, some of the homeless people were found to be suffering from tuberculosis, and those people obviously had to be isolated and be separated from the rest of the homeless people. So as of today, no more homeless people will be brought to the Strandfontein facility. I also spoke to the South African Human Rights Commissioner, Chris Nissen, who visited the facility early today, and this is what he had to say.
I must say that the intention to bring homeless people together is a good one, but then we need to look at how do we keep them together and how do we ensure that their rights are not violated in the process. We must also understand that now with the COVID-19 that there are some rights. The freedom of movement, the freedom of association has been suspended in order for us to curb the virus. So we cannot then say that whilst they are here there's no freedom of movement, no freedom of association. My concern is still, in terms of the regulations, the social distancing. And I must say that the one side I've seen, it's really perfect. It shows all the adherence to the regulations.
Now, Ayesha, that is the latest, where no more homeless people will be coming, but the ones who are in there, are we allowed access? Do we know the conditions under which they live?
Well, right now, Dudu, we're not allowed onto the premises, but I am now joined by a social worker, a volunteer social worker who's been working here since Sunday, Dudu Moko. And Dudu, you were telling me, sorry, Lorraine, you were telling me earlier that you are a volunteer and you've been working with the homeless people. What has your experience been?
The conditions inside there are very much appalling, to say the least. There is no separation between the men and the women. It's no social distancing. There are people in there with pain. There are people with withdrawal symptoms. There are children in there. There are disabled people. Everything is just mixed. It's like a concentration camp in there. It's really terrible, to say the least. Since Sunday, I've been asking in terms of what is it that has been done to ensure that children, men, women are separated, to ensure that there is that kind of social distancing. But then there isn't really answers in terms of how are they going to ensure that there isn't the spread of the virus in there. In fact, everybody's just running around. You can walk in there and get out without anyone asking you, who are you? I could easily be a drug dealer and issuing each one of them with drugs. You know, it's not even clear who is an operations person in there, who is the camp operations manager in there. It's just appalling conditions.
Lorraine, you were telling me earlier that there were children there as well.
Yes, there are 3 children there. They are toddlers, aged between 10 months and 3 years. I've been trying to get social development on board, and they've been sending me between WhatsApp and different NGOs, and all those NGOs couldn't help me. And I'm not going to mention those NGOs, but there's about 5 NGOs which I tried that can house. All of them told me that they are seconded for gender-based violence only. So what about the children? You know, what about the women? And I even said, but then these women are also abused out here. I mean, I witnessed where a woman was being thrown with stones in one of the shelters, you know.
Lorraine, thank you so much for your time. And that was Lorraine Moko, and she is a volunteer social worker here at the Strandfontein sports facility, where the city of Cape Town's homeless are being housed for the duration of the lockdown period.
A very scary picture that has been painted by Lorraine, describing the conditions there being like a concentration camp. Thank you very much to my colleague Ayesha Ishmail for that update.